What?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Day Bets. Alex Jacobs and Manny Ruffin. The divisional round of the NFL playoffs are here, and Monday kicks off the national championship in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Again, we saw the SEC championship there. We saw another playoff game there with the Texas Longhorns. Horns are down. And the Arizona State Sun Devils. And now we'll get the national championship there. Big weekend ahead. We got some parlays. But I want to start all of that with Wednesday night on ESPN. I was at the Knicks and Sixers game.
Was that game as empty as they were saying?
In the first half it was. And then it filled out like in the third quarter when the Sixers started coming back. It was kind of crazy. But like on Twitter, it wasn't doing it justice.
Is that a game time finesse? Game time app?
Well, it was supposed to be, the game was supposed to be actually at 7:30, and then like
I did see someone say that.
A day and a half ago went to 7.
Yeah, I did see someone say that actually.
So there was random tweets of videos of like how empty the stadium looked like 5 minutes before tip-off, which is crazy because we were one of those that got in like at like 6:50. Like it just took a while to get in the stadium, a lot of traffic, and there were so many people outside of the stadium that were trying to get in too. So like the videos going out before tip-off.
Maybe the security these days. I saw, shout out to my man, Matt Arbogast. He was part of the little security group. He was a shoot though. My man was overlooking this shit. That's my guy. But they make you put your shit in there, you mean? They look through it. Like I be having a finesse where I be putting a little cart in the wallet, a little finesse. Shout out if you know, you know. I'm like, this bitch looking through my wallet and shit. I'm like, yo, it's just some money in there. I'm like, yo, y'all crack. So maybe that's why it's taking a little longer to get in the games because they cracking down on shit. Like I saw no vapes and shit. One time I got my shit through.
They have been taking them.
I was like, yo, maybe you got. I mean, if they see like, oh, he might need that joint. I ain't gonna do him like that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna do him like that.
So we're not even a month into 2025, and I have hit the biggest bet of my year.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, let's just go take a look at this slip.
Life? What about life?
In terms of odds, yeah.
Yeah, 10,900. I'm gonna say there's.
In terms of odds, I have never hit a plus 9,000 before. I have won more than this, but like I only bet $10 on the bet.
That's what I mean.
So I've won more than that, but in terms of odds in this parlay, let's take a look. I've not ever hit a plus 9,000. It was Knicks money line, Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Maxey both for 25. And then it was the Mikal Bridges game, 3 threes. He did have 5, had him for 15. Had the Miles McBride over 9.5 points. That was plus 100. He finished with 13. He also had 3 threes. And then it was just the Josh Hart game, 12 rebounds and 8 assists. And something that's funny to note, in this game, FanDuel and DraftKings did not allow triple-double bets in this game at all. They also, at least for FanDuel, maxed out Josh Hart assists at 8 assists. They did not let you take 10. It's like these books just knew he was going to get a triple-double, which he did have in November when the Knicks were back in Philly again, and he had a triple-double there, and that was with Cat. Now, without Cat, you just assume that's going to happen. He finished with 17 rebounds. Game did go to overtime. 16 rebounds was plus 600. I think the value there was awful.
Terrible.
Like, I think that's got to at least be plus 1,000. I know that he is leading guards and leading forwards in rebounds. Like, we all understand that.
He's him.
But I think that value was terrible, so I wasn't putting that in there. So it was 10 to win. 902.
I can't say what the word I'm thinking on air, but that is insane.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. Fun ass game to watch. First half was crazy because they were blowing them out, and I was worried about that the game would be over by the third quarter, and then the starters sit. But the Sixers made it a game. Justin Edwards crazy, and then the other thing too is like Knicks fans kind of took over again, and there was MVP chants, and there was let's go Knicks chants, this, that, and the other. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is some of these families probably went back to their homes in New York, and they're going to come home from work today, and they're going to say at the dinner table, oh, we took over MSG South. We took over Wells Fargo Center. That's not the point that needs to be made. You went to overtime when half the starters weren't even playing. Yeah. Like, let's not be proud of that at all. Yeah. Like, and shout out Paul George because he was not in any of my bets, and there was 25 right there.
Obviously, you know what I mean. That's a fucking incredible hit. I just think it's funny too. Like, I really think my Sixers theory is correct, bro. That if we get all those guys on the court at the same time, I was just like the fucking 2018, I think Brooklyn Nets, or was it 2019 Brooklyn Nets? It's like the Brooklyn Nets where like when Kyrie, James Harden, and KD do play together, it's fucking insane. But even in the playoffs, they only got 2 of those guys. I think they played one playoff game all together. I do think that team all together, like you see them beat the fucking Celtics on Christmas. They're obviously this competitive even without Joel Embiid, which you know what I mean, they're missing a bunch of other guys. Versus the Knicks, which I think I hold them in high regard. I think the Sixers are real, man. I think get their guys together. That's just the big if in the world. But I really do think them guys are like my theory about getting to the playoffs any way you can and just fucking ball out with those top 3 guys. I think they could beat anybody, man. For real. Like I don't think nobody want to play the Sixers at full strength.
Well, and Embiid wasn't playing. He said he sat that Thunder game. Said he wasn't playing back-to-back, so regardlars if he does play that Thunder game,
that's why like
he wasn't going to play the Knicks.
Bro, I'm like, they sat him all. Because when they sat PG and Maxey, I was like, ooh, are they trying to load up, beat the Knicks? Nah, they still got some PTO that he can take.
It's a PTO. That tweet was funny. All right, so try not to look at this. I just want to do
I
this.
Didn't see anything. I saw like AFC Championship or something like that.
Okay, I want to set this up so you can't see these until after. Okay, so what we're doing now is in honor of the playoffs, the NFL playoffs, we're going to be doing a blind ranking of playoff games from our childhood and our era in these games that we have seen in the postseason, in the playoffs, and what have you. So we're going to start it out with the Minnesota Miracle with the Stephon Diggs catch. It was 29-24. That was the 2017 divisional big game that sent the Minnesota Vikings to the NFC Championship when they got clobbered in Philly against the Philadelphia Eagles to send Nick Foles.
That's with Case Keenum playing, correct?
That's correct.
That's prime Alvin Kamara.
Yep.
Which he's not. By the way, Jahmyr Gibbs is not better than Alvin Kamara. We need to stop that. I'm gonna go 4.
Okay. Let's go to.
Wait, how many games?
5.
Oh, I'm gonna go 3. I was thinking 10. I'm gonna go 3.
Okay, next we'll go to 2011. I remember exactly where I was when I saw this play happen. This was 2011. Denver Broncos, Pittsburgh Steelers. First play of overtime. Tim Tebow to Demaryius Thomas, RIP, 80 yards to the house. Denver moves on.
Yeah, I'll go 2.
That was an exciting one. I remember I was on
the Tim Tebow era too. That was insane.
I was 10 or 11 years old, almost 12 years old. I was at Pocono House with my parents in upstate PA at Elk Mountain.
Was crazy.
Remember watching it on this small TV in this Pocono House. It's one of those games where it's like, where were you?
That's what I mean. If there's games in here that's like before 2014, they're gonna get me off of nostalgia. Like that Tim Tebow run, that's a little different for me.
Let's go to the next one here.
For my football brain.
Let's go to the next one here. This is the 2014 divisional round between the Packers and the Cowboys. # Dez caught it. Was ruled an incompletion. We then see a couple years later that by the new rule, it would have been a catch. And the # Dez caught it still surfaces around social media. That was the 26-21 win over the Packers. After that 4th down incompletion, which was ruled, the Cowboys did not touch the ball again, and the Packers did advance. Where would you put that one?
2014. So there's Clay, AJ, Charles, Rogers, Eddie. On the other side, is this Romo, Dez?
This is like one of Romo's best seasons.
And one of his last with them, because I think 15 or 16 is when they brought Dak in. There's no Zeke yet. Is that Marion Barber?
Both teams are 12-4. This was arguably Jason Garrett's best season with the Cowboys and the best roster.
That was a great game. Maybe I just fucking hate the Cowboys too much. I'm gonna still put that 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's move to the 2018 AFC Championship. That was 37-31 Patriots over the Chiefs. This was Patrick Mahomes' first full year starting. He only played 1 game, which was the last game of the season in his rookie year. Great season.
They were down 17-7, correct?
Yep. And then it was 20. They outscored them in the second half, 24-14.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 5, just because I don't know why. Right. Wait, can we check? Was the Texans? Fuck, I can't check. I'm trying to remember if the Texans was the one that was 24-0 or 21-0. You know what I'm talking about? Because it was the same playoff run. I think the Titans one was. I gotta check. I'm looking at the Titans game. I think that was 17-7. If that was 17-7, I'm gonna go 5 because like it was or 17-0. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was 17-0. Chiefs versus Titans.
Texans.
Oh, this is the Texans game.
No, this game is Chiefs and Patriots. This is Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, my fault. Why did I hear? Wait, okay, so the game, the blind.
Did I say maybe I said Texans.
I think you might have said. So this blind rankings game is Chiefs versus Patriots.
So this game was
Chiefs versus Patriots.
This game was the 2018 AFC Championship, Chiefs versus Patriots, 37-31. Patrick Mahomes rookie season.
Yeah, and Tom
he played one game, and then this was the first year that he played every single game. Sophomore season, Tom ends up coming back and winning. Yeah. It was 17-7. The Chiefs outscored them 24-14 the second half.
This game's on I think NFL YouTube uploaded it, and I watched like the first quarter of this game, like probably like a couple weeks ago, which is crazy enough. I actually, that game was insane, bro. That game was insane. I don't know what's left though.
There's one game that's left.
How wild is that game that's left? Like OD, or it's not OD? On a scale of 1 to OD, how OD is it?
I think what I'll tell you is I liked where you were going originally with this game, in the slot that you were going.
Yeah. Bro, that game was insane, man. And even when I watched it back, there was a lot of shit in that I didn't really I took for granted when I was watching it originally. Just because all the guys that were still on the Pats and shit. It's a very legendary game. And I'm going to still have to put it 5, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, That's a very legendary game, though, man. Special place in my heart.
Now, it's a 2015 divisional game. This was the Cardinals and the Packers in Arizona.
Yeah, thank
26-20 in overtime.
You don't even got it. One.
Let's just remember this game, right? Let's remember this game.
I remember, yeah.
You get the Jeff Janis on 4th and 20, 61-yard bomb, and then it's with time expiring, the Hail Mary from Aaron Rodgers. The catch, they took a little bit of time to review the catch. It was ruled a touchdown. And then on the first play of overtime, like Carson Palmer with the elusiveness to get out of the sack, throws it to Larry Fitz for 75 yards, gets tackled at the 5-yard line. 2 plays later, he gets like the little just left-handed, almost little shuttle pass, push pass, and Larry Fitz gets in.
Larry Fitz,
26-20 Cardinals.
Larry Fitz in that game was unreal. But that game is funny because that is legit, like not even just, that might be top 2-3 football games I remember watching of all time. Just because, especially at that time, my Rodgers fandom was through the roof. Like that 2016, 2015, 2014 is when I'm telling people, like, people was like, Pat Mahomes is the most talented quarterback of all time, might not be the best. That's when that Rodgers shit for me started. Like, he might not be the best in terms of winning, but to me, he's the most talented quarterback I ever watched in my life. And that's when he started throwing all them fucking Hail Marys. He had the one to Richard Rodgers, I believe that was the same year, maybe the year after that. The Janis one that year. Larry Fitz was different. Larry Fitz started because for a long time, until the Cardinals got Jonathan Gannon, and I had some feelings changed about that organization. For a very long time, the Cardinals was like my steadfast second team. And it started from that 2009 Larry Fitzgerald playoff run where he was legit mossing 3 people a game, dropping 150 yards a game, should have won the Super Bowl that year, and then Santonio Holmes happened. Or was that 09 or was that, I forget what year that was. It might have been 07. The years run together when you get a little older. My fault. But, yeah, that's one. That's one of my favorite.
David Johnson rookie season too.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite games of all time, bro.
Michael Floyd was on that team. Had an early touchdown in that game. He had the late touchdown too to put them ahead in the third quarter. It was thrown and then was tipped by one of the Packers DBs up in the air, and Michael Floyd just in the great position just to grab it out of the air. That could have been picked. That would have changed the outcome of the game.
Yeah, that's one of them games. That's one of them games for me. None of them games. Now, I'm not going to say none of them games. But one of my favorite playoff games, obviously, one got resurfaced recently. It was the divisional round, I believe, in 2013 or something like that, 2014, when it was Drew Brees versus Alex Smith. Vernon Davis was out there. Bro, fucking Alden Smith was a rookie.
How about the Andrew Luck Chiefs one, too?
That's insane. But the other game, too, was the onside kick.
Right.
In the 12. Seahawks versus Green Bay. That game is fucking...
Yeah, that one was big, too. The Jermaine Kearse catch.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that game was special to me just because how crazy Legion of Boom was at that time. I thought Aaron was going to go in there and take them boys out. Obviously.
I wanted to try to keep it...
That was good. That was
sub,
good.
Like 2017 and lower. I didn't want to go any higher than that.
No, that was good.
Just because, like...
I was scared with that Chiefs game because I'm like, that game is fucking legendary.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have rather put the Packers-Cowboys game at 5 and then put the Chiefs game at 4.
or
you can't fix it.
Yeah, I was curious where you were gonna go because you ended up putting the Minnesota Miracle at 3. I wanted to start there because I didn't know if you were gonna get that at 4. Leave yourself
there was
some
a
room
little
for AFC
bit,
Championship
with that game too. There was a little bit like some of these games I wanted to put in how much I was anticipating it, and I just remember that Tebow run. Like I was anticipating the fuck out of that playoff game because I love Pittsburgh. So that was like one of the playoff games when I was a young boy. Like I was tapped the fuck in, and then Tebow did that. So that game had a special place in my heart. And then obviously, you know what I'm saying, with Aaron Rodgers, Cardinals, I was anticipating that motherfucker bad.
How many times have we seen him do a time expiring in either a half or a game Hail Mary?
He's so different, man. I just wish he wasn't a knucklehead. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so on that note with the NFL playoffs, we're going to keep it here and head to a live review of this divisional round parlay that I have. I have a bunch.
How degenerate is this? Scale of 1 to degenerate.
I would say it's relatively degenerate because it's a big lay.
Okay.
Basically, it's a lot of touchdown scores, kind of.
Oh God. Okay.
It's a lot of touchdown scores in all of these 4 games this weekend. But I think
what's
they're
a
likely.
lot? Like per game?
Some have 3, some have 2.
Okay, the Lions game better have 3.
It doesn't.
Bruh.
Come on, bro. Let's relax. Let's do our live review.
I'm jumping the gun. You know what I'm saying?
These odds are
oh my God.
292,641.
Oh, and this is a bonus bet. First of all, okay, let's talk bonus bet etiquette.
Yeah.
Bonus bet etiquette.
Thank you.
This is how you fucking do it.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the extreme that you did it. Maybe not 10. Maybe 6, but this is good.
I have a $10 bonus bet.
Sometimes
so
I see free bet etiquette. Sometimes we do it on the 2 leg favorite shit. Bro, man, take a chance.
Yeah, I'm taking a chance with a $10 bonus bet.
This is good free bet etiquette.
That's what I'm doing.
This is good free bet
Okay, so it's touchdown scores from every single game. It's a full weekend sweat from the Saturday games into the Sunday games. Let's take a look at the first game on the slate. That is the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce anytime, Joe Mixon anytime, Nico Collins anytime. We'll get a little bit deeper into our conversations about Travis Kelce. He is plus 160. He has scored, and I'm going to end up saying it again when we review this game. He has scored 9 touchdowns in his last 5 divisional round matchups in the playoffs and has scored in every single one of those 5 games. And he's plus 160? Playoff Travis?
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Joe Mixon, I know we got the late touchdown in garbage time against the Chargers last week. I'll take that. Nico Collins, I'll take that as well. You basically have the 2 favorites on the Texans to score. Now, in the matchup earlier, a couple weeks ago, when the Chiefs did play the Texans, C.J. Stroud was one of those touchdown scorers. Hopefully that's not the case there.
Shout out Kilkenny.
Yeah.
His sharp look of the weekend, he gave it out for free.
Yes, he
did. If
did.
you ain't following Kilkenny, I don't know what you're doing. If you ain't the Mooney Gang, it's just another story. But he gave out C.J. Stroud touchdown. I think it was plus 1,200. I got on board when it got a little lower. Always trusting Kenny, man.
Absolutely.
But in the parlay, that'd have been a little nasty.
Yeah.
That'd have been a little nasty.
100%.
You know
so those odds for those 3 there are plus 1,588. Then we'll move to the Eagles and the Rams. It's going to be cold in Philadelphia this weekend.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley and the book reader, A.J. Brown, both to get in the end zone because they both found a way to stay out of the end zone in their matchup last week. And then Puka Nacua. Mm-hmm. Those are those 3 there. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty calm. Yeah. I'm going back to Saquon and A.J. simply because they didn't get in, and I want to do it again. Yeah. I just want to ride with the 2 of them again. And then I'll take Puka as well. I have a weird feeling that it could be Cup.
I also don't know, like, a lot of people are making a big deal about the snow in this game. Us being from
Pennsylvania. It's going to be like 1 to 3 inches.
Us being from Pennsylvania, how many times do they do this snowstorm shit, and it's not – I'm not saying it's not going to be a snowstorm, but I'm leaning on the side of it's not going to be as bad as
it's just going to be one of the colder games
in
I don't Philly
know
in a long time.
I think it's going to be.
Then we'll move to the Commanders and the Lions. That is these 2 legs here are plus 509.
Okay.
That's Sam Laporta and Brian Robinson.
Sam Laporta.
Brian Robinson.
Sam Laporta mentioned on the pod. That a boy.
Yeah, I know.
That a boy.
Brian Robinson stayed out of the end zone in their Sunday night matchup with the Bucks, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Going to go back there. I didn't want to throw Terry in there. Was a little bit scared of that. So, again, you got Saquon, AJ, and Brian who stayed out of the end zone last week, putting them back in the lay to get in this week. And then Sam Laporta. Montgomery is back in, and you have...
He's going to score.
And so is Gibbs at crazy...
At like minus whatever the fuck he is.
Yeah, like 420 or 230, whatever dumb crazy value that is. So I'm going to go with the tight end here.
I like that.
And take Laporta.
Yeah, I fuck with that.
And then lastly, this is the lowest odds for these 2. These are 2 legs here at plus 205. It's the last game of the weekend, Sunday Night Football between the two MVPs. That's Josh Allen anytime. He also stayed out of the end zone in his game against the Broncos. And then Derrick Henry. He's the biggest favorite there in this parlay. He's minus 210 to score.
I like that. I like James Cook scoring that game, but I think if I were to look into it, I feel like Josh scores in all the big games. When they played, obviously not the Ravens, the Chiefs this year, he had the game-winning touchdown. I'm pretty sure he scored in at least a QB sneak in the Lions game. That was 42, something like that. Then the Rams game, that was a big high-scoring game, big game. I think he scored. I like it. I don't mind it.
So
I think you're going to get cooked, though. Like, I don't know about this Chiefs game,
look,
man.
I would just be happy if this can find a way to get to Sunday.
That's my problem. You might have to reuse selections and run it back after this Chiefs game.
Yeah.
I think McDuffie might have something for Nico. No Tank Dell out there, but we'll see though. I mean, we'll see.
A $10 bonus bet can possibly pay $29,264.13.
This is great bonus bet etiquette, and it's doable. Let it ride.
I'm down to let it ride.
I don't hate that at all.
Just find me a way to get to Sunday, and I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna send it to BR Betting and not cash out. Let's kick it over to these divisional round games. Starting it off with the Texans at plus.
Is this your favorite weekend of the playoffs? What do you like the most? Wild card, divisional, conference, or Super Bowl?
I think it's. I don't know if you put. I don't even know if I want to put the Super Bowl in that type of category because that's just like the last game of the year. Everyone's super excited for that.
Right.
I would probably say divisional round just because you get two games from both AFC and NFC.
And usually the matchups are like we only get I think all the games are gonna be good, my personal opinion, but we usually have more, but we have two where it's like we were waiting to see this motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I wish there was more this year, but yeah, it's usually my favorite.
Texans plus 8.5 in Kansas City versus the Chiefs. What was already stated
is still in at half. Yeah, it's still in.
Travis Kelce is plus 160 to score, scoring 9 touchdowns in his last 5 divisional round games and 5 straight. I don't know why he's plus 160, but that is going to be a big straight bet for the weekend for me personally. The Chiefs are also 6-0 against the spread in their last 6 playoff games.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We understand the Chiefs in the playoffs, but we also do understand what this Chiefs team is this year.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't looked like the dominant team that they have in the past. Haven't really blown out a lot of teams. Patrick Mahomes said earlier in the year, I want to get away from these sweats late in the games. Mm-hmm. I want to blow teams out. That just hasn't been the case for them. Mm-hmm. They already saw the Texans a couple weeks ago. Texans defense obviously rolling. And again, we talked about this with the college football playoff with buys and momentum and all this kind of stuff and how Ohio State had that momentum running into Oregon. Mm-hmm. Texans, 4 interceptions on Justin Herbert. We can debate with a wall about the some of them weren't Herbert's entire fault.
We still got 4 turnovers.
We still got 4 turnovers on a guy that had 3 picks all season long. Talk about momentum for the defense. This defense, if they can still find a way to play like that against this Chiefs team, I don't see the Chiefs covering 8.5. And if you want to go a step further, I could see the Texans winning at plus 370. I don't think the Texans are going to win this game. I don't at all. I do think they will cover plus 8.5.
Yeah, so the covering thing, this is a stat that's good for you. I don't have the stat, but oh my God, Mahomes at 7, I forget the stat, but him as a 7-point dog or more is very, very bad. It's very, very profitable to fade Mahomes when he's a 7-point underdog, 7-point favorite or more, just because he always does a late shit. He gets spooky with Mahomes, and people call the game's rigged, and the whole Josh Allen thing I was talking about, the refs love him. The refs might love Pat Mahomes more than they love Josh Allen, so you got that going for you for sure. One thing, though, in 8+ mile per hour winds, 25 degrees or less, dome teams are 0-4 against the spread and straight up in their last 4. Something that is going to be cold and windy in KC. I don't know how much it's going to factor in this exact match. That was just a weird nugget that I found. 41.5 is the lowest total Mahomes has ever had in a playoff game. I think he might have had period, but definitely in a playoff game. And then Mahomes is 8-3 ATS in under 30-degree weather games. So when I initially looked at this game, this number, I do lean Texans. I think it's a lot. And one of the reasons why I do think it's a lot, because I think with its total being low, it's going to be one of those ball control games. The Texans, it was low scoring. It was 19-17, I think, or 16-17 when Tank Dell got hurt. And they showed they could score. But What was the final score? I want to remember if that would have went. I think it would have went under in this total regardless. And then one thing about that game that was eye opening to me when I went back and looked at it, when I'm looking at the under, it being, I think it's 40. Is it still 41.5? That is low, man. Even with the Chiefs games this year, it checks out. But in that game, these were the Chiefs scoring drives: 11 plays, 66 yards, 6 minutes; 13 plays, 82 yards, 5 minutes and 30 seconds; 10 plays, 80 yards, 5 minutes and 40 seconds; 14 plays, 60 yards, 6 minutes and 33 seconds. So they have long, drawn out scoring drives. Pat Mahomes probably not going to turn the ball over. He could, though, versus Texans defense, but probably not going to turn the ball over. I don't think, and I could be wrong, just based off the Texas play versus Chargers, which was also a decent defense, pretty good Khalil Mack, Bosa in there, Derwin James making some plays. I don't think they want to get into a shootout with the Chiefs, and I don't really think they can. With the way this game's going to be ball control, I think I lean the under. And it sounds insane. It sounds insane because it doesn't correlate. When I say I lean the under, and then I'm going to say I lean Chiefs a little bit. For some reason, teams being an underdog, coming off a short week, going to a cold stadium, the Rams are in kind of a similar spot. For some reason, I think the sharp spot in both of those specific spots with the team going to the cold or on the short week travel, I think the sharp spot's the favorite. I didn't get to the window with the Chiefs yet, but I do have a teaser. I teased them down to 2.5, and I teased the Eagles down. I think that's money. I might get to the window on the Chiefs, but it's very, very, especially in the playoffs, I wouldn't caution no one to lay more than 7 points with Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs notoriously. I do like under. I did tease Chiefs down, and I'm leaning there. I might get to the window on Saturday, but I don't. It'd be fucked up to start my weekend off with an 8.5 point favorite that I just had a feeling was never going to cover, and they ended up winning by 3, and then I win my teaser, lose the bet, and I break even. It'd be a little depression. So I lean under. Got the Chiefs in the teaser. Looking at the Chiefs. I wouldn't talk nobody off the Texans. One prop look I have. Xavier Worthy reception yards have hit in 2 of his last 3. He didn't play in the Denver game. Targets in those games. He had 11 targets versus Cleveland. For some reason, he still didn't hit his over. Had 11 targets versus Houston, hit the over, and he scored. 11 targets at Pittsburgh, hit the over, and he scored. I think they might try to find ways to feature Xavier Worthy. They've looked for him all year. We've had our gripes about him not doing his job in certain spots versus the Bills, but you could have blamed that on Mahomes just as well. I think they've been trying to connect on the big play all year. And it's one of them games, right? In a playoff game with the Chiefs, it could be a contentious game. I feel like this is where MVS would always have a big touchdown. I feel like this is when Tyreek Hill would always have a big touchdown. And I feel like it might be the game that Xavier Worthy can have a big touchdown or just a big game. I'm looking at Xavier Worthy props for sure before this game kicks off. That's somebody I wanted to highlight before we got into it.
I like that Xavier Worthy touchdown plus 210.
And in 2 of his last 3, he's hit the over and scored on 11 targets. I think it could be a little similar. How much? And plus, people sleep on this Texans. But I was gonna say people sleep on this Texans secondary. D-Hop could be a good look, but with Stingley, Lassiter, and Okudah, Chargers weapons, a little lesser.
Yes.
You feel what I'm saying? So I can't really say that, but they are pretty good. Will Marquise Brown be able to win? Will D-Hop be able to win consistently? And will Xavier Worthy be able to win consistently to a point where you let Andy Reid get creative? And I think when we get to a point of the game where Andy Reid has to get creative, I think that's going to benefit a guy like Xavier Worthy. I think Travis Kelce's a safe bet, but I like Xavier Worthy.
Now Travis is up to plus 165.
I think he's a safe bet. I just think Xavier Worthy might have one of them big plays. Maybe he won't score on it, but I'm looking at his over. I'm looking at him to score.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely heavily leaning towards the Texans at plus 8.5.
That's a lot of points, man. Versus
It's
Chiefs.
a lot of points.
Versus Chiefs of all people, bro. This year,
and it's a playoff game.
Absolutely.
I mean, we don't see a lot of blowouts in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So, just in years prior, I know we were just talking about games in the 2012, 13, 14. There was games where it was 30-6 and whatever, what have you, all that kind of stuff. But right now, I don't know if I can pick the Chiefs here as a blowout and to cover 8.5 points. I understand it's home. I understand you guys got the rest, and I'm also eager to see if there's a lot of Taylor Swift coverage at these playoff games again. We haven't really seen a lot of it recently.
JK, Jason Kelce gonna be in the building?
Probably.
All right,
Chugging beers.
That's a little bit of a system. Yeah, that's a little bit of a system there in his plumber suit.
Oh, actually, you know what? He may not be there chugging beers because I think this is the ESPN game, so he might have. He's probably going to be on countdown for this game.
Yeah, he got work. My fault, JK.
He got to work. The night game on Saturday is, dare I say, outside of the Birds, your favorite because you've been calling it last week. If the Commanders beat the Bucks, you would be taking the Commanders at 7 or 7.5. Well, the Commanders are plus 8.5 at Ford Field against the Lions.
So the brown looking at I was telling you about. I got to the house, laying in bed a little whacked up, looking at the lines, and I saw the Commanders open at 9.5. Or I think they opened at 10. They got down 9.5. So I have 9.5. Sorry to spoil, but if you listen to the show throughout the last couple weeks, you already knew what I was doing.
Yeah, we knew you were going, and it was a spot like the Steelers where you couldn't fade it.
I can't fade it.
You've been on it for a while now, where you've been taking it, and I do want to start out with the Commanders by saying this. Here's the formal apology for Commanders fans, Commanders players,
sorry guys,
Commanders front office, Commanders staff. Mm-hmm. We're sorry.
Yeah, my bad, bro.
We're sorry.
We
can look back.
This. I don't know who predicted this.
I couldn't predict this. We can look back at our preseason prediction. 4-13.
My bad.
We're sorry.
My bad, bro.
But let me just say this too.
There's Commanders fans that were saying they didn't see it either.
Let me just say this, and you're 100% going to agree on this. If you had the Commanders, if you're going to claim that you had the Commanders at 7 or more wins this season, you're lying. You're lying.
You're lying, or you're an absolute homer. Absolutely.
Or you're a homer, which is fine. Because I was a homer with the Giants and said they were going to do a lot better than they were. But if you're not a homer and you had the Commanders at 7 or more wins, and you're claiming to say that now, you're lying. So that's where here's your formal apology.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Commanders, we're sorry.
My bad, bro.
This is
I don't know how I could have seen
great
that.
for you guys and Jaden Daniels in this great season for the Commanders here in the divisional round. It's great to see, but you're now up against the Ford Field Lions and the dual-headed monster, the dual-headed dragon of Montgomery and Gibbs are back together again. Lions minus 8.5, minus 510 on the money line.
Insane. I think 90% to even 95% of the money line bets are on the lines. Listen, I'm already on the Commanders. I don't think they can win this game. I don't think they do. Actually, no. I don't think they do win this game. I think they can, and I honestly think they will be in a position to win this game. One thing that's really interesting about this game is that we have a total at 55.
Yes. Thank you.
Highest total in a playoff game since 2021. Dome playoff games are 67% to the over. Commanders have won 5 straight games on the final drive of the game. So they tend to find a way to be involved in these games and keep it close. Commanders' losses, only one has been by more than one score. That was Jaden Daniels' first game of the season versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Todd Bowles, rookie quarterback, week 1. You got to see that coming. One-score games versus the Eagles, Steelers, Cowboys, and Ravens. Overs were 3-1 in those scenarios. The only game to go under was the Eagles game at home Thursday night versus the Eagles. You get some grace from me for that. I'm looking, even though I'm already holding the Commanders to cover, I'm looking hard at Commanders team total over 22.5, which is also 13-5 this year. They've proven they can keep games close. They've proven they can score. De'Ami Brown's been stepping up. We know what Terry McLaurin does. Zach Ertz is big in these type of games. Even if you think the Commanders can't cover, I even think they can still hit that team total, not cover, lose the game 35-23. Very, very possible situation we're looking at. They're 27, 28, 23. Lions get a late score, no cover. Still get the team total. I think they'll be able to put up points. And also, for a prop look, I had Jaden Daniels rushing yards last week. I thought versus Todd Bowles pressure, defense, playoff game, first playoff game, he'd be taking off the scamper a little bit more. He was taking off the scamper. I think he had about 12 carries, only 36 yards. That athletic defense, he got Levante David chasing him down. They had some guys that could keep him under wraps. In this game, versus an Aaron Glenn man scheme, also kind of want to send some pressure. I think his rushing yards are a good look, and since December 15th, he's gone 66 yards over hit versus Saints, 81 yards over hit versus the Eagles, 127 yards over hit versus Falcons, 27 yards under, only played the first half though versus Dallas, so 27 rushing yards in the half. You assume he would get that over when it's around 55, 50. And then in the playoff game, 36 yards versus the Bucs under, but he was still the leading rusher. In all those games since December 15th, the leading rushers in those games have been Jaden Daniels in the playoff game And then the playoff game. In the Cowboys game, it was Marcus Mariota, who still, after only playing a half, was still the leading rusher. I don't know what's been going on with the whole Brian. I'm not saying he's been struggling. I think more so teams are kind of figuring out maybe this Commanders rushing game. I don't know what's going on there, but I think there's another prime opportunity for Jaden Daniels to be the leading rusher again. I want to look back. I think it was the Lions game. Was it the Lions game when I said take Josh Allen rushing yards? And it was like 40-something. Another matchup where it's going to be a quarterback we're playing a lot of man against. We're going to have some pressure against, and this guy can use his legs. They notoriously hurt Aaron Glenn defenses. That's why you've seen guys like Sam Darnold not be able to do shit versus them. You see guys like Jordan Love, not as athletic, be able to struggle a little more versus defenses like that. I think Jaden Daniels rushing yards is a great look. Y'all know I'm all over the Commanders. I'm looking at the Commanders team total. I'm not taking the money line. I'll probably be taking Jaden Daniels rushing yards. I want to take a look at someone else prop-wise. Jameson Williams has been having very productive the last couple of weeks. Especially in that game we saw. I just think he's been a spot, and everyone likes Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's been a spot that's been underrated. His line's now up to 56.5, and we were targeting him on not Christmas Day, on Thanksgiving. I think his lines were around like 30-something and a half, just super low. I'm not there yet with Jameson Williams. But that's another look that I kind of like a lot. And then, do you look at De'Ami Brown stepping up in his role lately? Obviously, I think he had 97 yards in the playoff game. Those are a couple looks I'm kind of peeping, but I'm all over the Commanders. I'll probably get to the Commanders team total over, and I'll probably even get to – I might have a lot of action in this game. I might even get to the over too, man. Highest total since 2021. They know what they're doing. 67% of overs have hit in the dome in playoff games. And plus the Lions, I guess the Lions offense, they're going to score, and the Commanders always seem to keep it close. So I like the over, like Commanders team total over, like the Commanders to cover, like Jaden Daniels rushing yards. I didn't really take any touchdown scores. I think I'm never going to tell nobody to take David Montgomery to score, but I think he's a lock. If you want to take something to -170, have fun. I'm not doing it. A couple questions I have. This high of a total. Oh, he's up to 140, so people have been betting it. But a couple of these dog looks at a total that's this high. Jameson Williams is one of them. Terry McLaurin's one of them. You already bet one of them, Sam Laporta, which I think is a possibility. But when I scroll down, is this a game where you could see a Zach Ertz score, a Tim Patrick score? Total this high? I love it as a kid. St. Joe's Prep, I love you. I don't know if you're going to score. You've been hooping, though. You've been hooping. But it's Zach Ertz and Tim Patrick, especially big Tim Patrick, in a game with a total this high. And our sharp guys over in the Mooney game have been targeting Tim Patrick all year. I don't know if they have him in this game. I haven't looked. So if they do have him, I'm sorry for leaking. But is Tim Patrick a good look in this spot to score?
I hope if you're going to go Tim Patrick that you go Sam Laporta first.
I probably wouldn't.
Because I need
Sam Laporta. 55 points, and I think the over's going to hit. It's going to be a lot of motherfucking touchdown scores. Not Jameer might score twice. David might score twice. You know what I'm saying? He might get cooked that way. But I think in a game like this, you start looking at guys at higher value for score touchdoher. I think I might start with Tim Patrick and Zach Ertz. Maybe a little parlay, fun parlay. I don't know. I'm going to look at some higher odds guys to score in this one.
That was well done. I'm going to set my side on the under because I think that's where I want to go.
You're going to go a dome playoff highest total since 2021?
Look, I hate betting unders. I hate doing it. I understand it.
Aaron Glenn going to strap that kid? Aaron Glenn going to strap it up?
Also, think about it, too. When you got a lead, you're just trying to chew clock. We're not trying to race down the field and score. We are in the playoffs. So, again, you're trying to conserve the lead, get time off the clock as fast as possible. 4 of the Lions' last 7 games went under this 55.5. 4 of Washington's last 5 have also gone under this 55.5. And 2 of the Detroit Lions 3 playoff games last year went under 55.5. You can start to create the argument about the Lions' defense and the injuries, and maybe that can play a part in potentially getting this over.
They've done a good job of proving that's bullshit, though.
It's just a high, absolutely.
They've done a great job of that. I can't lie.
With the Vikings in the last week of the season, last game of the season.
They've done a great job of proving that's bullshit.
I think it's just tough to see the gap that we have in the totals in these games this weekend and not lean or at least just look at the under. You have 41.5 in the Texans Chiefs. You have 44.5 in the Rams Eagles. And then obviously with the 2 MVP candidates on Sunday Night Football, Ravens Bills, you got 51.5.
I think that's an under.
That's also going to be cold. That's going to be snowy. what have you. We understand that. But seeing 55.5, the dome stats there are great. I do like that. Hearing
Monty's
that.
back. Might be some energy in there. But Aaron Glenn's ability to maybe strap up rookie quarterback. I just think his man schemes kind of favor a quarterback that can run and extend drives and keep the team on the field. I don't know. I like the over, but I could see the logic with the under here. Just don't want us too many points.
This definitely will be a prop game for me, though, because I'd be too nervous to take a -8.5 or a +8.5 in this game, to be honest.
Not taking a side?
The side that I would lean towards is probably the Commanders. +8.5, probably, which is weird of me to say because I've just been a hater since we've been trying to stand on the fact that we had him 4-13.
I think big money's coming in on the line. Let me see. I think big money's on the lines, which is surprising.
73% of the money.
Yeah, like I think
52% of the bets.
I think the pros love the lines, and I think it's one of these scenarios where it's like the Commanders is the emotional bet. You know what I mean? If I wasn't riding high on the Commanders, like in this matchup and like seeing this matchup before it happened, maybe I wouldn't be as high on the Commanders, and I can understand why the wise guys are going to the side of the lines. I'm gonna still rock with the Commanders, but the Lions low key might be the sharp side in this matchup, even though the public can always win. But I don't know if it's necessarily a public side, but the public can always win, as we've seen the last couple of weeks. But the Lions, to me, from what I've been seeing money-wise, when the money's going, this might be the sharp side.
I am happy that this is the night game we get to see, too.
Facts.
For Saturday.
Facts.
Close out the Saturday night with, some beers and dry January.
Absolutely.
And hopefully cash some props. I like the Jameson Williams prop as well. And we'll just have to see. You talk about a lot about the rushing attack that the Commanders have, and we'll just see what type of defensive schemes are going to be put out there for this. We kind of got to see glimpses of what Jaden Daniels could do to them late in that game with the Bucks. Also, just looking at it too, let's just say the Bucks were able to move on to what that spread could have been.
Yeah.
What that over/under could have been. I probably would have been taking an over if the Bucks were there. But also, let's not throw any shade to the Commanders and the explosive offense that they have as well.
They put up points and they stay in the games. I can't see them. Just what they've been doing all year. The only game they lost by more than one possession was the first game of the year versus Tampa Bay. I just couldn't see it. I can't see them getting blown out. I'll happily be proven wrong, but I just can't. I don't know why I can't see it.
All right, to your favorite Eagles, -6.5 at home in a cold, snowy game, maybe 1 to 3 inches. -6.5 against Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and the Los Angeles Rams. We know where you're going, but as a fan, we know where you're going. Why are we going this way?
Well, I'm actually not as I'm going to take the full spread, but I'm not as confident in the full spread people may think. Anytime the Eagles I see are more than -4, I always tend to get a little nervous. We love a backdoor cover. We love to spoil it with the backdoor. You know what I mean? Let them in the backdoor late. Fall asleep in the third, fourth quarter. We love to do shit like that. I did tease the Eagles down with the Chiefs. That's my teaser of the week. But I do think it's the Eagles because, first of all, I think we just match up way better with the Rams than most teams that we see this year. We saw it in the first matchup. Plus the Rams on a short week, off an emotional win with obviously narratives and emotions high. Traveling across the country on a short week to come play in the snow. I won't call it a blizzard yet. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's just a bad matchup for the Rams. Especially one thing with the Vikings game that a lot of people aren't talking about. The Vikings run game didn't look that bad. That game just got out of hand, and then we had to put the game in Sam Darnold's hands, and we started getting sacked and shit, so then the run game's relevant. But there was a couple times Cam Akers got loose. There was a couple times Aaron Jones found some gaps. They just weren't on sustainable drives that we could keep going. I want to know how much they pay attention. Obviously, Saquon Barkley put up 255 fucking yards on them last time. So I wonder how much they try to sell out versus run. But like Jalen Hurts said in an interview, teams have tried to stop Saquon. This is not a new narrative that Saquon is just tearing the league up. It's been since week 1. So teams have tried to stop Saquon, and that's exactly what Jalen Hurts said back to reporters. They tried. So I don't know if they will. And I think if they can't stop Saquon, and I mean legit stop. Like, I'm not saying even if he has 20-something carries for 90 yards and he's still productive, I don't think that's stopping him. That's slowing him down. That's not his usual. But I think if they can't stop Saquon, I think they're in a lot of trouble because I think it's one of them weeks where Eagles are galvanized. We already talked about this before the Pittsburgh Steelers game. This is not a team you want to bet against when they're galvanized and there's noise, especially noise coming from one of their leaders. And this time it happens to be both their leaders on offense. There's noise on A.J. Brown. There's noise about Jalen Hurts being rusty and he didn't play well versus the Packers, which, whatever. This is definitely not a team you want to bet against when they're galvanized. So before I get into the props, I will say I'll be taking the Birds here. They're obviously teased down as well, and I hope, Rams, please score first. Let me get a nice live line to double, triple down on. So I'm all over the Birds in this spot, obviously. I don't think it's no surprise. I think the people are more interested to know where we're going in this game.
I'm taking the Rams plus 6.5.
Interesting.
I think the Eagles will win this game.
Yeah.
It would be crazy to see the Rams do it.
But we like to fall asleep.
I think they can cover. I think the cold is going to get to these LA Rams. I don't know how Stafford is going to do with this pass rush in the playoffs. Again, we saw most of this in the dome at SoFi.
No, it's fair.
In the dome at SoFi,
It's fair.
not in the cold. So that worries me a little bit. This Rams defense is young and hungry. And who does that remind you of? The Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Fair.
Young and hungry.
Fair.
Start to look at that under 44.5. Hate to root for, to not root for points, but this is going to be a defensive battle between both two young and hungry defenses, and you got two top rookie defensive players of the year candidates on both sides of these teams here in this game.
Jared Verse looked fucking unbelievable last week, man.
Unbelievable. So I'm just excited to see, how many times Jalen Hurts is going to have to roll out of the pocket, if that's the case.
And I think something that the Vikings didn't do that I hope to see the Eagles do more. We don't do it a lot of it, but I would like to see more rollout, more sprint out. Obviously, at this level, we don't like sprint out and roll out, but because they think the quarterbacks can get to it regardless because they're mobile. But maybe they do something like that. But I think that's a factor if the D-line can get to the Eagles. Because we also, one thing we didn't show enough, which I hope we do more this week, is just more quick game. Too many slow developing routes, guys not getting open right away. I think it's a narrative to pay attention to. One thing I said to you before we went live, how many games does Matt Stafford have left? He's 36. He can play till he's 40. He's probably still best natural thrower maybe besides Mahomes in the league. Is there a kumbaya? This could be my last. He hasn't said anything. But is there a kumbaya? This could be my last run or one of my last runs.
Definitely going to be conversations.
Him and McVay.
Definitely going to be conversations.
Him and Cooper on the way out. I think also for the thing with the Lions is no Tyler Higbee's massive. I think Tyler Higbee plays. Another weapon in there. I just think they're going to struggle to get the Kyron. I think they're going to be struggling to get the Kyron Williams running game going, which with the Eagles, you can't get your running game going. It's going to be a long day. Another stat I saw, Matt Stafford outdoors in the rain/snow. 1-8 record. 54.6 completion percentage.
Oh, my God.
14 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, which is uncharacteristic for big old Matt. 76 passer rating. There's a 75% chance of snow Sunday in Philly.
Around 1 to 3 inches is what I've been seeing.
Yeah, so it might not be too bad, but he has a track record not being the best in that. So I don't know. I still lean Burns, but I could see them covering, bro. I think it gets me nervous when I see spreads go this high with the Birds. I still take it regardless.
I like these matchups though. Cooper and Puka and Quinion and Cooper.
Bro, I think if we get the Cooper matchup, that's what I'm gonna really be looking for. He said Thielen gave him good work. I don't want to know what Cooper Kupp's gonna do to you, young man. Hopefully you can lock in.
Young man.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna send some help over there. A couple prop looks that I had. It's because like I'm gonna preface this before the prop looks because they're both wide receivers. If the snow, rain, bad weather narrative takes you off the prop game as far as wide receivers, I'm not mad at all. Not mad at all. I 100% get it. I just think sometimes in games like this, we overthink that narrative, and people still end up getting their receiving yards. Not everybody, but some people still end up having a nice little receiving game. Devontae Smith, he's hit his over in his last 3 or 4. People like to talk about the A.J. Brown situation. Not a lot of people talk about Smitty. His last 3 or 4, he's had 109, he hit, 51, barely didn't hit, 120, he hit, and then 55, he hit. Smitty's playoff history, 2021, 1 game, 4 receptions on 11 targets for 60 yards. If his line was anywhere around 54.5, I'm just going to assume he hit that one. 2022, 6 receptions for 60 yards on 10 targets versus the Giants. 2 receptions for 36 yards in the blowout win versus San Fran. Brock Purdy got hurt early. Backup quarterback got hurt early. Run game from there, blowout win. I'll give him some grace for that. Then he had 7 for 100 on 10 targets in the Super Bowl. 2023. No A.J. Brown in this game, but still 2023 playoff loss to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 8 receptions for 148 yards on 12 targets. And then the last game, I'm pretty sure he had like, I think he had like 11 or something. I think he had a lot of targets, but he had all the targets and 4 receptions. I think he might have barely hit. I think he had 60 yards. Smitty in the playoffs. I do think, I'll get to A.J. Brown after this. I do think it's one of them classic A.J. Brown weeks. But Smitty in the playoffs and late in the season seems to be Mr. Reliable for Jalen Hurts. Alabama connection. Something about that speaking to me. Now I'll get to Mr. A.J. Brown. He's played in 14 games this season. He's missed a couple. Had a little bit of injuries. A little banged up about 4 or 5 months ago. He's a little banged up. His over has hit in 8 of those 14. In 2 different scenarios. So he's never hit an under 3 straight times. There's been 2 scenarios where he's hit his under 2 times in a row. Both those times he's bounced back. He had 110 versus Pittsburgh and then 97 versus Washington. Those were 2 weeks where there was a lot of noise around A.J. Brown. Every time there seems to be noise, he seems to come back and snap. Now, I understand if the rain, the sleet, the snow, if it scares you off. I really think with the addition to the narrative that Saquon Barkley had 255 fucking rushing yards versus these guys last time. There's been some noise about Jalen Hurts' play. There's been some noise about A.J. Brown getting the ball. Do the Rams stack the box a little more? Not every possession, not every play, but is there more times when in some scenarios where it might be second and manageable, they stack the box a little bit more? 1st and 10 after we've gotten a first down already at the 50-yard line. They might stack the box on that 1st and 10, stop the Saquon, come more side. Let's go under center, play action, pass over the top to AJ or Smitty. I think that is in play in this game. I would take a hard look at both the receivers. And then obviously I would never talk you off taking Saquon props. I mean, I think it's maybe like 110 or 115. And there's been enough games where he's hit that motherfucker comfortably. But for some reason, both the wide receivers in Smitty and AJ this week are really speaking to me. I think I'm going to take AJ to score. I think I might take Smitty to score. I for some reason, even with the snow game, it could be dumb. Could be a classic rug pull by the casinos in the snow. But I'm getting A.J. Brown at plus 145. And in this scenario, I mean, we know if he doesn't hit his over, I feel like Jalen Hurts is looking for him in the end zone. And then is Smitty at what is he at? Plus 160? Plus 180?
Plus 210 to score.
Gotta take, like, with Smitty's playoff history, I gotta take Smitty to score.
All right.
So those are 2 looks, definitely prop-wise. I'm definitely looking hard at A.J. Brown and Smitty. I think Cooper Kupp in that matchup with Cooper DeJean, if they move him around and give him that matchup to score, maybe his yards is a good look. They do have Higbee here on the fucking John, so maybe he is playing. My fault. Higbee.
Questionable.
Yeah, maybe he is going to find a way to play. So my fault, Higgs. If he does play, I think that could be a decent look because no Nakobe Dean, very good cover linebacker. We don't know if it's going to be Burks in there for the Eagles or if it's going to be Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Could see them pick on those new guys with Higbee a little bit. So if Higbee does play, I actually don't mind a Higbee look. But go Birds. -6.5. -2 in the teaser. A.J. Brown yards. Smitty yards. Most likely both of them to score. And a galvanized week for the Birds. You never, ever want to bet against the Birds when they're galvanized. I've been saying this all year. And this is another classic fucking week where there's, for some reason, off of a 22 to what? 10? 13? What was the score? Playoff win? A comfortable playoff win? There's a lot of noise on the Eagles. Jordan Mailata on verse, and if you want to move him to the other side, he has Lane Johnson. How much of a factor is he going to be? Go Birds.
Another job well done, sir. Take us home. Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, MVP candidates. Sunday, 6:30. The Ravens.
Now, I know you did say
the
the Commanders game is probably my favorite game. What was my favorite game looking forward to? Because I feel like I had to read for a long time. This is one of my favorite football games. This reminds me of how much I was anticipating the Bills versus Chiefs last year in the divisional.
Absolutely.
Gives me that kind of feel. This is the game. I'm not going to say game of the century and do none of that, but this is the game right here.
This is the game.
This is the game.
Clearly obvious that this is the last game on the slate for the divisional round.
Well done, guys.
Of the weekend here. -1.5 for the Ravens. Bills are +100 at home in what's going to be a little bit snowy at Orchard Park. It's going to be cold. Low of 17, but that's not what the feels like. It's going to be. It's going to be cold.
It's going to feel like
it's going to be cold up there in Buffalo.
Yeah.
You got +1.5 for the Bills, and right now, I can't see myself fading the Baltimore Ravens. I think the roster, you want to just go hand in hand, stack them both. The Ravens got the better team. I think they're the best team in the AFC. I shouldn't even say that. I know they're the best team in the AFC. The Ravens are like in a position to get that rematch with Patrick Mahomes. That was at the bank last year in Lamar Jackson's MVP season. We saw Josh Allen wasn't able to do it the game before. And then what I remember saying was, well, Josh Allen couldn't do it, but the MVP's going to do it. And that he wasn't able to. Here is your opportunity to get back to another big stage against those damn Chiefs and beat them. The Ravens got to win this game for Lamar Jackson to go back and beat the Chiefs. I got the Ravens to win. I'll take the 1.5. I'll take a Lamar Jackson touchdown as well.
I like that Lamar Jackson touchdown look a lot. I don't know if I can get to the window on that, but I was staring at that motherfucker when I was looking into this game. I like that look a lot out of you. One thing that concerns me here, before I get into the interesting stats, can I see if they have Zay Flowers props up? Zay Flowers didn't practice yesterday. No news on practice today, but did not practice yesterday. No props for Zay Flowers. And so I lean the Ravens' way. I do want to ask you, if Zay Flowers is a no-go, do you still have the same confidence level?
Still with it.
If we don't get Zay Flowers. And Lamar looked fine versus a divisional team of familiarity. You would think if he doesn't have Zay Flowers versus a team that's familiar, that's on the third time they played him without a top weapon, you think that you would see some pushback there. And Rashad Bateman looked fucking amazing.
If there's no Zay Flower props,
you're gonna be all over your guy?
I will obviously be taking and going with the boy Rashad Bateman, but I'm gonna go looking at
we need to get a Rashad Bateman jersey somewhere in the studio.
Yeah, seriously. I will be looking at Justice Hill over 22.5 receiving yards.
Okay.
Out of
wow.
the backfield.
Okay.
I like that a lot. He did get there last week. Scored the touchdown on a similar play. How I'm thinking, 3 or 4 yard pass just past the line of scrimmage, and he just takes off and runs, gets himself 16, 17 right there. Maybe need 1 to 2 of those, and you can get to that 22.5 mark. I
think another look, possibly Dalton Kincaid. I think he has the most receiving touchdowns he has for them in the last couple years in the playoffs. He's actually obviously a big playoff guy, big guy in the pass game. He could actually have a big game. To the stats though, Lamar as a favorite of 3 or less, or an underdog, is 26-9 against the spread for his career. Lamar and the Ravens, when the line opens up for them as an underdog and the money comes in and they close as a favorite, they are 6-0 against the spread and straight up in those situations. Josh Allen is 0-3 against the spread and straight up as an underdog in the playoffs. Can you guess the 2 quarterbacks he's lost to and failed to cover against in those matchups? I think you can get one easily. I think the second one's a little funny.
In the playoffs?
In the playoffs. Only 3 times he's been an underdog in the playoffs. He's never won. He's never covered. And he's lost to 2 quarterbacks in those situations.
Well, Patrick's got to be one of them.
Lost to Patrick twice. And then can you guess the second guy?
Brady?
Nope.
Who? It's not C.J. Stroud because they beat them multiple times.
Yep.
Did they get Burrow?
As a favorite, but they lost.
As a favorite. It never was the Steelers. We know that, obviously.
Yep. This is borderline impossible. You have to go back in the memory bank for this one.
Really?
Yeah. This is back when they were saying Josh Allen should play tight end. Fucking crazy slander.
Who the hell is it?
Deshaun Watson.
No fucking
They
way.
lost to the Deshaun Watson-led Houston Texans in NRG.
That's right.
In one of Josh Allen's first playoff games in the wild card. Deshaun Watson was breaking fucking sacks, rolling out to his right, hitting. I forget who the running back was. It might have been my boy Waterbug. Hit my boy Waterbug for a big play. They went down and scored, won the game. He lost to Deshaun Watson as an underdog. He's only lost to Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. I don't know if that trend continues. I'm betting for it to continue. And plus, I think when the public is moving the line from the Ravens dog to a favorite, and they're 6-0 in that situation, it makes me like the Ravens even more. Some props I like for this game. Something that people aren't talking about. James Cook has scored in 4 straight games. He has 16 touchdowns this year. Something that people aren't talking about. He has 16 touchdowns, 1,000 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns.
Plus 105.
And with some guys like this, where like Josh Allen's the quarterback, you wonder how many times they're getting the ball in the red zone. People who have been season-long James Cook touchdown bettors, there's been a lot of times they get onto the 1 or 2, and they let Josh try to carry it in. In the last 2 weeks, he's seen 6 red zone rushing attempts in those last 2 games. I think James Cook anytime touchdown scorer is a look. And then something else that I saw that was very interesting to me. Super interesting. This year, you will put Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. Now, I think it's Saquon Barkley's giving him the edge, but Derrick Henry's right the fuck there. And if someone says Derrick Henry has a better year than Saquon Barkley, I'm going to say you're wrong, but I'm going to hear you out. I don't think you're, you know what I'm saying? I don't think you're out of your fucking medulla saying that. Derrick Henry's last 4 games to close out the division race, which is a key factor for me because it was the playoffs without being the playoffs.
Right.
Last 4 games having to close out the division race in 1 playoff game. He's gone for 162, 147, 138, and 186. Now, his rushing props line, I'm pretty sure, isn't even at 100. Not even at 100.
96.5 at minus 114 on FanDuel.
I might rip that. I think I might rip that. Especially in a situation where we had the read option cooking for the Ravens. We've seen it all year. All the attention for the linebackers. All you really need is 1 or 2 plays, big plays from Big D Hen, and you have to think of cashing that. Last prop look I have, which I love that you said Lamar Jackson score. Lamar Jackson rushing yards have hit in 5 of the last 6. Now, something that was interesting to me when I looked on props.cash, shout out to my boy Pete and all the guys and all the team over there. I know y'all be working hard, gotta be. Early in the season, in the first 6 weeks, he hit those in 5 of the last 6 weeks in the beginning of the season. The first 5 or 6 weeks, he hit that in the beginning of the season. In the middle of the season, he fell off. I think he went 1 for 4, 2 for 5, something like that. And then he had 15 rushing attempts last week. That was his most rushing attempts since week 1. Now, Lamar Jackson did come out in an interview a couple weeks ago. I think it was last week. They asked him about the AFC Championship game versus Chiefs. And they asked about his legs. He didn't have a lot of rushing yards in that game. He did say he wasn't playing at 100%, especially in the legs department. So did John Harbaugh and them do something to where, all right, you're fresh in the beginning of the year. We're going to let you wild out a little bit. Middle of the season, we're going to chill out, not run the ball as much, chill out, stay healthy. End of the season, last 4 games, last 5 games, the playoff race ramps up. We want to play for the AFC North. We have to win this division. Into the playoff game, we ramp you back up. Had 15 rushing attempts last week in the playoff game. I think Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry rushing yards is a great look in this situation. I've seen a lot of people, something I've seen on the Action app, which is a very nice resource. On some books, you can bet rushing attempts. I think you can bet rushing attempts on FanDuel. And I think that, and I saw that line was at 8.5. I think even if Lamar doesn't hit his yards, I think he does hit his rushing attempts. If I can get an 8.5, I might take a hard look at that. Rush attempts.
9.5.
So it's already gone up. I think 8.5 was the sharp line. 9.5, I still don't hate it. I think he could still probably hit that comfortably. He had 15 the last game, and I think this game's gonna be closer.
Yeah, he started that game with like 5 straight rushes.
Exactly, and they've been running a lot more QB dives, sending him into the middle of the trenches. I think Lamar rushing props is a good look in this game. I think James Cook to score. I think Dalton Kincaid you could look at, and then Derrick Henry. How is his line? They're giving Saquon Barkley's line, I think 115, 111. How is Derrick Henry's line still at 96? In the last 4 weeks, he's gone 162, 147, 138, and 186. And then I'll close it with, if Zay Flowers doesn't play, I am one, because in those games, I feel like you were right in those for Rashad Bateman. But Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, I think Mark Andrews will be hanging somewhere around 2-1, 2.5-1. I think Isaiah Likely will be somewhere around 3-1, 3.5-1. Oh, we had Mark Andrews at 165. They saying something.
Likely at plus 300.
So I think a play that's not bad if you want to take touchdown scorers is to take Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely if Zay Flowers doesn't play. All you need is one of those to hit the kid prof. I think there's a high chance that both of them score. It could be one of them games. Those are my prop looks for them games. I do think it's the Ravens, though.
It's absolutely the Ravens.
And one thing I'll say about this game, let's not do if someone loses this game, and I think the Ravens are going to win, so I'm leaning more towards Josh, of what the conversation is going to be after the game. This is why he can't do this in the playoffs. This is why I never go over the hump.
Yeah, don't go pushing that narrative.
I don't want to see that. And obviously it could happen to Lamar, too. I just think Lamar's going to win the game. So I'm just prefacing that it could happen to Josh. It could happen to both of them. I think that could get real nasty. We've seen two of the best quarterback years we've seen in a while, I feel like. Given the situation in the teams, 2 guys deserving the MVP. Take in this moment and soak it in. There's only going to be one winner, man. Both guys can't win. Both guys can play well. But even if they don't, I'm not going to run and start doing the whole legacy talk and this is why. It could get, the social medias could get real nasty after this game. I would say watch your ears, mute some conversations, hit the not interested on some Twitter conversations. You know what I'm saying? Don't let these people that want to do the legacy talk and the MVP talk and all that. We've made our arguments all year. You know what I'm saying? It's settled. It's over. Lamar got first team All-Pro. The last whatever amount of quarterbacks that got first team All-Pro also got MVP. Our case has been rested. Enjoy this game for what it is, man, because it reminds me of the Chiefs and Bills game last year, where it's one of those special football games that you really get once a year. I can't fucking wait for it, man. Go Ravens. Go Lamar. Go Derek. Get healthy, Zay. And if not, go Zay and go Mark. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let's do our all-day bets.
Touchdown scores.
Touchdown score. Okay, so all-day bets, our 4-leg, weekend-long divisional round touchdown score sweat. Let's start with the Texans and the Chiefs. Anytime touchdown. Do we do it? Travis Kelce playoff plus 160.
Okay. I want to do Pacheco, but I can do Kelce.
I think we just have to.
Okay.
With the stats of scoring 9 touchdowns in his last 5 divisional round games.
I'll give you that one.
I got to stay there.
That's fine.
You're going to take the lead on this one.
I think we go Monty.
Commanders Lions.
I think we go Monty.
Montgomery in the return.
Yeah, I think we go
minus 170. You're okay with it?
I think we go Monty.
Okay. Clicking and forgetting. Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams. Why do I think you want to go Devontae Smith here?
I don't want to take anybody.
You got to take somebody.
You know somebody had a purpose before everyone had an opinion.
Oh, God.
He could just ruin every single person that we want to take here. So do we go Rams?
I'm cool with it, but you're an Eagles fan, so that means you got to root for a Rams touchdown.
Disgusting work. I don't know what to do here, bro. What do you want to do here?
Well, I feel like everyone's going to be taking A.J. Brown because of all that bullshit, and I don't want to be the public fish to do that.
I think it's a great bet.
I just don't want to be like, like we're going to see some bullshit tweet from, BR Betting.
Absolutely.
Or our guy John Ewing.
Absolutely.
That 95% of the touchdown bets this weekend are on A.J. Brown, and I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, of course, he's not going to score.
Yeah.
But he probably will end up scoring because of all this noise, and you talked about it with the stats after, not getting the ball in back-to-back games. He doesn't have 3 straight duds. Jalen's got to give him the ball now. I do understand it. Saquon also didn't get in the end zone. He's minus 170. I'm not cool with having 2 minus 170s in there. It's hard to score touchdowns in the NFL.
Is it Jalen Hurts?
I also, I understand it, but, are we trying to put – he got cracked in a couple of those runs last week. And I don't know, a guy that sat out for 3 weeks with a concussion is the smartest thing to be thrown at the bottom of a pile.
They gonna push that nigga's tush, bro. They gonna do that. That's one thing that's one thing they gonna do, bro. I don't know if we gotta worry about that. I don't know if we gotta take him, but they gonna push that motherfucker tush.
So what are we doing?
So my short list: Hurts, AJ, Kyron.
I'm cool with Kyron, but how can we not?
Josh Jacobs scored.
True. How can we not take AJ, though?
Let's do AJ. I'm down to do AJ, bro. If he wants to sell me, he can fucking sell me.
Yeah, you know what?
Let's do AJ, bro.
I'm fine with it. And then lastly, the last leg of this, in the last game, the MVP game, the Ravens and the Bills, touchdown score props. What are we doing? What are we doing here, sir?
Ooh.
Josh Allen's plus 105, James Cook's plus 105, Mark Andrews plus 165. The boy, Rashad Bateman, plus 170. Let's not forget we did have him first last week, plus 800 on DraftKings.
Why do I want to kind of do James Cook?
I had him last week, too.
What's Lamar odds?
Plus 190.
Oh, my God.
Drake had over 200 grand on Lamar touchdown last week.
So we got rug pulled. Do people leave the casino on the Lamar tickets? What does Lamar do to this parlay? Let's just see what he does to it.
He makes those odds plus 28.33.
Wow. And then what does James Cook do to it?
Plus 19.73.
So I'm between Lamar, James Cook, and Josh Allen. That's my 3, I think. And whatever you feel the best about in those 3, I'm down to do.
Well, Josh didn't score last week. I did have him in a straight last week.
Damn. 31 points didn't score.
Yeah.
I feel like that's uncharacteristic.
Curtis Samuel scored.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm fine with putting both Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying we're doing that, but I'm saying I'm fine with either. But like, what did you say? James Cook had 16 touchdowns.
16 touchdowns. He scored in 4 straight. Of those 4 straight, he scored 2 touchdowns twice. He has 6 red zone attempts in the last 2 games.
All right, I think I'm doing it.
James Cook.
Plus
1973, and you know we can get a boost on Sunday or Saturday.
Yep.
Shout out to my boy Birdman.
Yep.
You know we can get a boost.
All right, so there it is, right there. Travis Kelce, David Montgomery, A.J. Brown, and James Cook, plus 1973. That's the 4-leg, all-day bets, Sunday, Saturday, divisional round sweat. Let's get a cash. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. Don't do me like I think Travis and AJ are the 2 I'm looking at.
And you can get a boost, so we are going to boost it.
Oh, we're going to boost that.
Whatever it is, I think there's a 30%.
Oh my God, we might get 2,500.
So obviously it won't let me use it here, but we'll have to see what it is after the show. Let's kick it to our last big game after all of the NFL concludes. On Saturday and Sunday, we get the Monday night at 7:30 at Mercedes-Benz, the college football playoff national championship. Ohio State is minus 8.5 against Marcus Freeman. Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The under is at 46.5. And with these 2 immaculate defenses, I think just right off the bat, that's kind of where I want to go. Do I want to root for an under in a national championship? Absolutely not. But with these 2 stellar defenses, I think that's the first note of where I want to put my money.
I did place a teaser. I teased Ohio State down to 2.5. Or 2, my fault. I teased Ohio State down to 2. And then teased the total up. Now, when I had it, it was 46.5. So I teased the total up to 53.
Okay.
Ohio State minus 2, under 53. I think that's a good look. I do think, stat me, I think the Catholics are coming in on this. Yeah.
51% of the money on Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And 50% of the bets split down the middle on FanDuel Sportsbook.
Shout out St. Mary Jude. They coming in on this motherfucker. Here's my thing, though, with that. They went down 10-0 versus Penn State. Very arguably, if Drew Aller could hit an arrow pattern, like an elite quarterback in college football should be able to do in the red zone, it's 14-0. Drew Aller also threw a late pick. You know what I'm saying? Put a lot of balls in Harmon's way. Penn State didn't complete one single pass to a wide receiver.
That's
insane. That's not going to happen versus Ohio State. Will this defense be able to hold up? They looked a little wobbly at points versus Penn State. They got it together. And then with this defensive line, be able to get to Riley. We saw the Penn State D-line almost put Riley out of the game with a concussion, we thought. Came back in, still balled out. Shout out to Riley. We seen your hoop highlights recently that surfaced online. Holy fuck. Not the most athletic. Who's more athletic, him or Cooper DeJean? Hoop highlights. Who had better hoop highlights, Riley Leonard or Cooper DeJean?
Am I corny for saying Cooper?
Nah, I mean, that motherfucker like 6 foot. Riley Leonard is at least like 6'5", 6'6" out there banging on motherfuckers. But he was banging, though. He was banging. Catching oops and shit. I didn't know you had that, Riley. I didn't know you had that. Had some shit with him. I'm going to go Riley, but Cooper shit, just because he's a little smaller, that should look a little more crazy. But yeah, shout out to Riley. I didn't know you had that in your bag.
I think Ohio State wins this game.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's going to be doing that.
Nah.
Obviously, stats don't say that.
Say a little different, yeah.
But I just feel like, the road ends here for Notre Dame. It's been a fun ride for this playoff, and for me personally, the last month.
It's their Catholic magic.
The last, outside of the playoff, the last month to month and a half, I was taking a lot of Notre Dame bets, and this is the time where I feel like I just have to switch. And watching Ohio State is just unbelievable, and the things that this team is able to do. They're just such a fun team to watch. Both of them are. Like, this, let's not discredit Notre Dame here too. I just think Ohio State is much more explosive, and we've seen that time and time again. I can't see myself taking Notre Dame. I shouldn't say fully that, because I can partially see myself leaning that way. I can't see myself actually going to the window and hitting submit on a Notre Dame bet.
If we have any Jersey listeners or anybody who's in the state where you could take college football props, or we have any people who like to go over across the bridge and play some college football player props, Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, I'm in.
Last college football playoff game. Honestly, if he came out last year, very possibly could have been one of Josh Allen's weapons this year, but they got Keon Coleman.
True that.
I think if you go and bet props in this game, I think I would look at Emeka Egbuka. I just don't think I think we're going to see a major war of attrition here. But the question I do have, Texas or Notre Dame?
In terms of
who's better?
To me, Notre Dame.
Interesting. Texas, if it wasn't for a Sark blunder, Texas could have very easily tied that game late down the stretch.
Yeah.
Was that spread not 5? It was 5.5.
6.5.
6.5.
And they got it.
Now, we don't know if Ohio State was going to come down and score the next drive a touchdown. I would assume it would have been a game-winning field goal. And if that game did go into OT, the only way Ohio State would have covered that spread is if they won in the scenario where they had to go for 2. And then Notre Dame didn't even score on their possession following. Some tells me I do understand why the public is on the 8.5. 8.5 might be too much. I teased it down. I think Ohio State definitely wins by at least 3. 8.5 might be too much. I'm not going to go looking for a middle and taking the teaser down and then taking Notre Dame spread. But some tells me Notre Dame get in this Texas film, especially when you want to talk defenses. I like Notre Dame defense way more than I like Texas. Now we did talk about it when we talked about the best defenses left in the college football playoff. I said Texas was there, and Texas did kind of prove me right in that game. The one blunder they had was letting that touchdown go in before halftime, which was ended up being the backbreaker touchdown, but more than so than the Sawyer touchdown, in my opinion. Without the touchdown before halftime, with like 15, 20, 30 seconds left, without the Sawyer blunder, that game flies under, and Texas covers comfortably, maybe wins. So maybe I placed a little bit too much of an emotional bet when the line first opened up for me, and maybe teasing Ohio State down and teasing the under up. I think the under is still a great play. But I'm gonna hold that teaser a little gingerly. I'm confident in the number. But where the money going? The public ain't all over Ohio State like I thought. Maybe some more wise guys on Notre Dame. Is Notre Dame to play? 8.5? Do you just take the points and pray with the Catholics? Go to confession?
Like, that would sound cool. Seriously.
It would. And then they lose 31-19.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think honestly, Ohio State's going to roll.
Yeah. Shout out to Will Howard, bro. Shout out to Will Howard. Shout out to my boy Jim Knowles, St. Joe's Prep mention. St. Joe's Prep coach we got Jim Knowles. We got Kevin Stefanski. Kyle McCord, leading passer, college football this year. Got Marvin Harrison in the league, acting crazy. Alameda Zacchaeus in the playoffs. Shout out to St. Joe's Prep, man. DeAndre Swift, my fault.
Yeah,
man.
I was about to say it if he didn't.
What the fuck am I doing? Runyon Jr. St. Joe's Prep out here in the league, man. Shout out to y'all. And I'm gonna hope the PA boys get another W here. That's where I'm at with it. I'm
going Ohio State. I am a little nervous to do the 8.5 to lay it down. But if you're betting Ohio State, that's just what you're gonna have to do. If you think Ohio State's gonna win, fuck it. Put the 8.5 down.
I want to know what JTT's health is. Took a very unfortunate, unlucky ankle injury second half of that game. He ended up playing still, but he was playing gingerly, obviously. If he's banged up, that could be a narrative as well. But roll State.
Roll State.
I hate fucking saying that.
You hate saying that as a Penn Stater.
It's disgusting.
Will the Big Ten bring it home, or will the Independents bring it home? Interesting stuff here on Monday night.
Shout out Marcus Freeman, man.
Shout out Marcus Freeman, man. What a great season for both these teams. This is a matchup, again, that we would have not have seen if it weren't for the 12-team playoff.
This would have been a fucking bowl game.
I commend I commend the 12-team playoff for this and getting to see this. And right after the divisional round 2, this late into January, can't beat it.
Best weekend of football of the year.
Absolutely. And this is maybe something when you talk about what is one of your in the NFL division, Super Bowl, wild card. I mean, you have to include this now with the 12 team because we're going to get this after the divisional.
This is the new weekend, and this is the new best weekend in football. Facts. First iteration. Shout out. I like it. Let's keep it around.
Let's keep it around. 12 team. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Monday at 7:30. That's the program. Make sure to drop a like, comment, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube, especially if TikTok finds a way to leave our hearts.
Yeah, so wait, they saying that suppose there's a rumor that Trump gets inaugurated tomorrow, right? He's inaugurated tomorrow. I saw like that, that whale facts page or something like that. They said he might try, his first move is to have an executive order to keep TikTok. Is that even possible with the fact that they're owned by
I think
China?
there was also some type of like conversations of getting an extension for like 270 days to get some more time to make a decision on it. I mean, the other thing too, we all understand how so many people are on it.
Ain't this like Sark getting looked at by NFL teams and Dion looking at the Cowboys? And we trying to just fish for some money here.
And
you know what I'm saying?
We all know that there's so many people that are on the damn app, but we also need to understand how many people have full-time jobs creating content because of this app. Mm-hmm. It's not possible on Instagram. Yeah. And YouTube Shorts doesn't do it. I'm not saying
that's the only app with the creator fund.
It's the big thing with the creator fund, and it's short form content. TikTok, you don't have to go out there posting 20-minute YouTube vlogs.
TikTok Shop, a lot of motherfuckers getting rich on TikTok Shop.
Especially these are guys that aren't even making content. They're just making videos promoting a product. Yep. Brand deals from just posting your face of doing a 30-second to a minute long to a whatever 4, 5, 6, 7 minute long video on TikTok. We can't get rid of that platform. Certainly not for us and the motion that we got on there as well. If you did listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, scroll to the bottom, give us those 5-star ratings. They help us a long, long way. And make sure to hit some bets this weekend. We got a great new weekend, the new best weekend in football, divisional round, and Monday night's college football national championship. Hit some bets. You know we are too. And maybe this parlay cash is for the boys too. We'll see you in a bit. Good luck this weekend.